thought I'd just make the most of the opportunity to catch up on a few tasks, and one of them is to talk to people about Seneca. I'm aware that this is something that a lot of teachers use already. However, over the summer, an important development was that we managed to get some funding to pay for Seneca Premium. Uh, and this is something that's not just available for science department, however, it's actually available for the whole school. So I wanted to talk everyone through it. Just so we're aware, Seneca Premium is available for Key Stage 4. So this is for year 10 and 11. However, we've got just the sort of the basic Seneca, the regular Seneca package for Key Stage 3 and 5. In science, we really identified Seneca as being a great tool for the particular course that we teach. It's one of the few websites that has resources for it, and which is why we've gone for the premium content. So really all I'm doing right now, there's lots of functionality in Seneca. Students can get logins, teachers, and interestingly, parents. We'll talk about that maybe another time. The main thing that I wanted to do is to kind of just get people to think about whether they want to use the resource. Okay, if you just look for Seneca and try and log in, you should be able to log in with your Microsoft 365, and it should take you to a homepage that looks something like this. Okay, now those of you who have used Seneca before will be aware that you kind of get made classes, and previously these are classes that we have made ourselves. However, we are now what they call school synced. Okay, and what that means is that this data has been taken from ISAMS and dragged through into Seneca. My hope, and this is where I need some help, is that everyone has got their classes pulled on to Seneca. So for example, I'm teaching this year, you can see it down on the left hand side, A level 1 and 2, and then I've got years 10 and 11 DEF. Okay, so I'd be really grateful if anyone who wants to use this can just go on and have a quick check to see if they've got their classes there, and to let me know. Now, we did have some teachers having an issue with it when they were first logging in. They were getting a bit of a screen which was kind of rolling around in a bit of an infinite loop in terms of choosing subjects and things. However, that seems to be just working itself sort of through with time. However, if you're having any issues, please let me know. So in the first instance, that's what we're doing. Just very quickly for people who don't really know Seneca, Seneca is a resource where you can use to teach and review material. It's really, really helpful, and we find it's really, really powerful. However, we've not really used it formally, hence why, for example, we've got quite a lot of missed bits in here. When our students complete tasks, we have something called the Seneca School League, which I've talked about before, and that collects points for our school. The points don't really mean anything, however, it's just a good chance to engage our engagement. And typically, those of you using it before will know that we were typically down at the sort of the 6th or 7th point. We're kind of getting a decent amount of usage. However, we've noticed recently that as a result of syncing, as a result of getting our stuff together, we're noticing a lot more use, and this has just been from science. I'd really love it if we could, as a group, investigate whether we want to use this resource, and one way we can kind of gauge whether we're using it or not is via the points. What I'll just do very quickly right now, just whilst people are here, is just show the kinds of things you can do with Seneca. So you can do all manner of things. Now that we've got premium, we can set assignments. Okay, and hopefully when I did this before, it took a while to load. If I go into my synced 11F class, then you'll notice that this is, excuse me, automatically come up as being for my course. You may have to choose your own course, and you can do this up here. If it's not been set already, you can set it yourself. So I'm not sure if we have anybody doing archaeology, but you could choose that if you want. I'm on physics, and basically it's really, really simple. What I can do is I can set these almost like little nuggets. Those of you who did Century Tech will sort of be aware of that. We've got little sections here. So the course is broken up, it's according to the syllabus. And you notice here we've got core content and then hardest questions. So if I want to set this, all I have to do, you'll notice this is about a 3-minute task, so not particularly huge. It's great for homework. I can press next and assign it. What do those tasks look like? If I go into here, this is the bit that took ages to load. You can preview as a student. So I think sometimes teachers are not really sure what we're doing here, what we're using here. This is what the student sees, not just Seneca on a screen. Here we go. It's coming eventually. talk amongst yourselves. All right, there we go. So this is the thing I like about it, because it's a way of doing a bit of adaptive teaching. You may have a student in a room who's maybe struggling with a concept, measuring length. They may not be aware that we normally measure length using a ruler. Okay, and it just sort of talks through the content. They could be using this to take some notes, perhaps with a structure strip or something like that. And then once they're ready to move on, they've got little tasks, okay, which they can do here, and they can still refer back. They may get it right or wrong, so let's just say I say measurement errors, which I don't think is correct, but we'll just check. It will tell me, it will allow me to use some points to then see the explanation should it eventually load, etc., etc. So it's really just a chance for students to interact with the material, okay, give them good explanations, all right. They can ask questions. I think there's AI features, this whole bunch of stuff which I'm sure other people know better than myself. And then more explanations. You can see how there's sort of paths which allow the students to go through there. I'm fairly certain that most of the courses that we teach on GCSE are there. There's also resources for Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 5. So right now all I'm doing is a bit of a call to arms. It's just really to say to people, check if you've got access, check if any classes are there. Key Stage 3 classes should be on there as well if you teach them. Have a look and see if there's anything useful there. We've paid for a 1-year subscription because we don't know if this is going to be a popular resource. So it's really going to be an ongoing thing of mine just to check in every now and again to see if people are using it and if they think it's useful. And absolutely, if you've got any questions or indeed anything that you want to teach me about it, please let me know. All right, apologies for the long video. I hope everyone's safe and dry, and I look forward to hearing from people about their use of Seneca.